Oh my God.
Oh my goodness. I'm like almost in tears. iHeart-Radio Music Awards.
Be here as the nominees are announced.
Ladies and gentlemen, here are the nominees.
Thursday morning at 6.
As life returns to normal, our worries have not disappeared, but evolved. CalHope offers free COVID-19 emotional support. Call 1-833-317-4673 or live chat at calhope.org today.
Hire the best in the business. Triumph Law. If you've been injured and need an experienced personal injury firm, call Triumph Law at 9165-million to schedule your free consultation.
That uncertain feeling before doing your taxes? Filing on your own or choosing the wrong partner can be stressful. Connect with Liberty Tax and then just breathe in and cash out.
Pay no out-of-pocket expenses.
Sounds like a mantra.
Visit StopTaxiety.com to schedule your appointment and say farewell to the stress of tax season. Liberty Tax. Let's end taxiety. At participating locations, terms and conditions apply. See store for details.
But that painful burning stayed. So I made Prilosec OTC part of my morning routine. With just one pill in the morning, Prilosec OTC prevents excess acid production, blocking heartburn day and night. Now I have a new nighttime routine. I call it sleeping.
Block heartburn all day and all night with Prilosec OTC. It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
There are 3 schools of thought about dipping your McDonald's breakfast in ketchup. The first is that it enhances it. The second is that it doesn't. And the third is that it's just exciting to have an excuse to try more than one breakfast sandwich.
I hit the spot.
There's a deal for every school of thought at McDonald's. Enjoy a $1 small hot coffee or a $2 medium iced coffee. And add in a savory sausage McMuffin with egg or an egg McMuffin. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer.
Huge savings on your favorite name brand products. This week, warm up your oven with Pillsbury dough. Delicious, ready-to-bake assorted varieties are just 99 cents each. That's a savings of up to 78% versus traditional grocery stores. Also this week, stock up on healthy alternative Beyond Meat, Beyond Sausage. Hot Italian or broad original varieties are just $3.99. A savings of up to 60%. Offers good through January 25th.
Grocery Outlet Market.
With thousands of true crime podcasts to choose from, finding your next case to binge can be a little intimidating. Lucky for you, our investigators are on the scene with an entire lineup of podcasts to get you started. From stone cold killers to cold cases waiting to be cracked, including the new iHeart podcast, The MLK Tapes.
He never confessed.
Open the free iHeart app and search true crime to start your next podcast obsession. iHeart-Radio. Discover music, radio, and podcasts you'll love.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for.
Upgrade your skincare routine and discover your healthiest skin yet. With up to 50% off daily beauty steals from faves like Tula, First Aid Beauty, and Clarins. Feel your best with a skincare routine made just for you. But hurry, this event ends January 22nd. Shop in-store, online, or try curbside pickup today. Ulta Beauty. The possibilities are beautiful.
But then what? Well, there is a nice piece of stock music playing behind me that a talented composer worked really hard on. So let's enjoy it. Wow, almost overshadows the saving big when you switch to Progressive part. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
To tell you about the 30th anniversary celebration of Dos Coyotes.
Well, I'm sad to say it didn't happen. The world was focused on more important issues, but now we're going big by celebrating the 30th and 31st anniversary at the same time. Every Monday through the end of March, stop by Dos Coyotes for your choice of 4 popular meals for just $10 each. The last time I did a radio spot, someone said I sound like a surfer dude. Well, okay. So along with the Dos Coyotes' famous Yucatan chicken salad and the chicken chicken burrito plate, I decided to include our Big Cat Shrimp Burrito with extra shrimp, or our Wild Caught My Taco Plate as part of the 4-meal $10 special.
Join the anniversary celebration at Dos Coyotes every Monday through the end of March with one of our 4 most popular items for just $10 each. For more information about specials and locations, go to doscoyotes.com.
Extra 20% off when you use your coupon or Macy's card. We're in full hibernation mode, so get 40 to 60% off bedding to keep you toasty warm. Prefer the great outdoors? Get 50% off coats and jackets for him and for her so you can brave the weather in style. Plus, Star Rewards members earn on every purchase, except gift cards, services, and fees. See Macy's.com/Star Rewards. Savings off sale and clearance prices. Exclusions apply.
Who's at the front desk right now?
Someone who's handy with everything from nail files to spreadsheet files.
Deirdre's not coming in today, but we have that whole bachelorette party.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
$376 million. That's what this week's Mega Millions jackpot is up to right now. The Mido Lotto wants to hook you up with a free ticket. That's right, a free Mega Millions ticket just for downloading Mido Lotto. Sure to hear for the new, convenient, and safe way to play the lottery right here in California, Mido Lotto. And right now, for a limited time, Mido Lotto is giving B101.1 listeners a free Mega Millions ticket just for downloading this convenient app. It is so easy. Play the lottery at your convenience, not the convenience store.
Let's get ready to rumble! Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton of Big C Sports. This is Charlton of Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe. Of course, to everybody who loves sports, all stars and level war on a beautiful January the 21st, 2022. Found on the 4th day sponsor, the Benny DJ. Welcome to the show. Today's Big C Sports podcast is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers. Only all-new Cadillac Escalade. The standard of the world when you go by and test drive your hotel in Charlton. Big C Sports Center, all fair and level where you can follow Big C Sports on 23 podcast applications now. That's 23 podcast applications, just growing by leaps and bounds. Really do appreciate that. Got a super NFL weekend coming up for the divisional playoffs, but you can follow Big C Sports Podcast all over the world on Google, Alexa, Spotify, Speaker Podcast, Apple Podcast, iHeart-Radio Podcast, Castbox Podcast, Deezer Podcast, Podcast Addict, and number 10, Pod Chaser. I gotta catch my breath. Give us a praise while I catch my breath. I said, give us a praise while I catch my breath. Come on, producer. It's like 70 degrees in California. You can also follow Big C Sports on GeoSavon Podcast, Podtail, YouTube Podcast, Hub Hopper, Stitcher Podcast, Radio Line Podcast, Luminary Podcast, Listen Notes, Podcast Wise, Podbay, and as well as Verbal Podcast. There's another app that just joined to carry Big C Sports Podcast. It's like artificial intelligence is out there grabbing everything up. I guess it got a little bit jealous when baseball decided they were going to use robots. But you can follow Big C Sports on a new app as well as all the others that I've mentioned too. It's called allfeeds.ai. That's allfeeds.ai, and you can give that some praise. Everybody give it some praise. I said give it praise, praise, praise. Really do appreciate that. Going the growth of Big C Sports Podcast. I just want, what did Jerry Maguire tell Lee Steinberg in the movie? And I mean this too. You just heard the lottery commercial. He said, "Show me the money." $100 million wouldn't hurt anybody. What would you do with $100 million? Seriously. I'm going to give it all to a church. Oh, maybe the tax portion. Anyway, everybody has, all these pastors are calling me now. You what? What'd you say you get to the church? Anyway, Big C Sports Podcast on 23 podcast applications. Also on streaming on 4 TV applications. Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, and a lot of smart TVs all over the universe. Really do appreciate that. I love paying homage to my family legacy when it comes to podcasting with Big C Sports Podcast. So many great things have happened in my lifetime. Just love paying homage to it. On my mother's side, my great-grandmother, Mabo, just the matriarch of the family, made sure everybody had food in the belly, kept the family strong, taught us the word of God. Just a lot of great things. Just a wonderful mother, great-grandmother. And also, on my mother's side, my great-grandfather, Pop, a former Negro League baseball player, known for making, according to all of his church buddies, the best moonshine in the universe. Known for saying, boys, get out of that bar. Oh, man, they make me laugh when I think about back in the young days. Also, my grandmother, Mudia, a seer, great business mind, always done what it took to keep the family strong. And then my grandfather, Hezekiah, really do appreciate that. Really proud of my mother. Helped start a Head Start program in Northern California, also a food program to feed families working with the church, and also help win the Little League Championship of the universe. Give mama some praise. You got to get that praise. Always saying rise and shine. Always saying rise and shine. Give mama praise for that. Really do appreciate that. And then on my father's side, the patriarch of the family would be Albert Curry, my grandfather. Very intelligent businessman. Had 2 churches in Oakland, California. Built the 3rd one in Central California. And also heard 2 service stations in Oakland, California. Really do appreciate that. My grandmother, the matriarch of the family on my father's side, helping my grandfather with the churches and also with the service stations, keeping the family strong. And then my father, retired Air Force fighter pilot, chief mechanic, making sure planes can fly high so we could all stay safe at night. And I also want to say I appreciate my brother Todd. Bombastic voice, sound like thunder and lightning. Really do appreciate that. Always reading. My beautiful daughter, Daisy, graduated college, double degrees, 3.5 years. Very beautiful, very intelligent, and strong-willed. She would help me set up for events when coaches had come to the West Coast, and for Big C Sports, getting them signed in, also help set up some interviews. Really do appreciate that. And my son, Malcolm, a college student, who is very, very smart, very handsome, hardworking young man, and does NBA stats inside and out, and knows his stuff when it comes to NBA, oftentimes sending me information on NBA. And then Big C, with all of his wealth and knowledge in the past, give everybody some praise. I said, give everybody some praise. Come on, producer. Like Radio Raheem said, wake up! Like the Radio Raheem, wake up! The Big C Sports Podcast, really do appreciate that. Man, it's hot in California. You know, there's always people want to know, how does everybody steal stuff from black people? Talent, everything. I'm telling you, what I'm going to say, my grandfather used to always say it all the time, was always watching boxing, listening to boxing on the radio, and then listening also to football, and then baseball on the radio, former Negro League baseball player, and very into the church, oftentimes with his church friends. He was the first one that I heard you hear it now oftentimes for boxing. He was the first one I heard say, let's get ready to rumble! Welcome to the show, FC-nominated Big C Sports Podcast. I'm telling you, no scripts, no 3-way teleprompters, no producer in my ear. I always honor God. I produce the show with my higher self, and I walk by faith and not by sight. I always produce the show. I direct the topics. I broadcast the shows. I do all the sound effects. My producer's a little bit sleeping in today. I said I do all the sound effects. Come on. Sound effects, please. Anybody. It's hot in California. And so all of that is done. The commercials done by the agency, and then the stats providing, and the storytelling. I also do the play-by-play, and I think we'll hear it over this weekend, and it's all fair level where touchdown San Francisco! Deebo Samuel, 50 yards! You gotta run the ball. Run the ball, you win the game. Run the ball, you win the game. Don't believe the hype. Green Bay has a really bad defense against the run. Really do appreciate that. But it's all fair and level where whoever plays the best will win that game. And then I upload the show. It goes out to 23 podcast applications. 23 podcast applications now with Big C Sports. And then I never missed a show since starting Big C Sports with Salem Media back on September 12, 2015. And I think it's the only sports show in the universe that pays homage to God on every show. One of my favorite scriptures that I heard growing up is Genesis chapter 13, verse 15. It says, for all the land that thou seest will I give you, and thy seed forever. In the book of James chapter 4, verse 2, said, you have not because you ask not. If you want something to just ask and give the good book some praise. Like TV Jake said, get your stick together, give us some praise. Come on, y'all, give it all some praise. Man, it's amazing. I said I was going to give out my lottery winning to leave the tax portion to the church, and now I got all my pastor friends. They've been texting me. Don't they know it was a joke? Don't they know it was a joke? They don't give me all their winnings. Life is funny. All fair and level award. I'm going to take the time to say for everybody, really love the Veterans Crisis Hotline. Love working with them. The veterans, they really are. The Veterans Crisis Hotline, their experience helping veterans and their loved ones get help. If you know anybody going through issues, they will stand on their head to get some help for our veterans, even if it's you. 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. Or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. You can help our veterans get some help with our first responders. And they will stand on their head to help you. Get that some praise. Come on, producer. Say, give them praise. Pump up the volume. And it's all fair and level war. Really want to say thank you to Xfinity, Comcast TV, and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. Back in Genesis 1:3. God said, let there be light. Open your cell phone to say, play Big C Sports Podcast. You will see our app pop up. 23 apps now, all over the world, and I really do appreciate that. And you have also the 4 TV apps, Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, and Roku TV and Amazon Fire TV. Really do appreciate that. Also, I just want to say, very happy to be affiliated with ValleyHomesWeekly.com. They're a national TV show that showcases properties in the Central Valley. If you want to know what's going on in your neck of the woods, and it's snow in some parts of the country, but 70 degrees out here in California, Northern California, go to the nationalrealestatepost.com. That's the nationalrealestatepost.com, and you will find out what's going on in your neck of the woods in real estate, and they also talk faster than I do. And they really do. Try it sometime. Also, if you want to know what's going on with mortgage rates, go to, it's important, mortgagedailynews.com. That's mortgagedailynews.com. You can find out what's going on in your neck of the woods and also all over the country. If you're looking for funding, unsecured funding, working with 250 lenders, help you get between $10,000 and $400,000 funds to be used for many, many purposes: business startups, real estate investments, repairs, renovations, working capital, down payment assistance, just getting the help you need. And there's some requirements for that. If you want to know more about that, call 800-772-8624. That's 800-772-8624. And we get the Big C team some praise. If the banks say no, call 800-772-8624. Working with real estate developers in Northern California with the Big C team, all fair in Leavenworth. I'm going to take what's called the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. When I come back, I'm going to talk about some football in the words of former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'll be back. All right, we are back from the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 23 podcast applications all over the universe. 23. Isn't that Michael Jordan's number? The best player in the universe when it comes to NBA basketball. I really do appreciate that, giving that some praise. I'm going to tell you and again, I know people say, man, certain people already came up with this, but they've always stolen from black Americans since the 1619. But as my grandfather Pop would say, former Negro League baseball player, let's get ready to rumble! My goodness. This is kind of like knowing you get to take a shower. Doesn't it feel good when you haven't had a shower, you've been at the gym working out all day, and you stink, and you need to clean your backside off, and your front side off. You got to clean under your armpits. You even got to wash under your neck, if that makes sense to you. Who washes under their neck nowadays? Everybody should wash under their neck. You ever see rings around somebody's neck? They got to wash their neck, dude. But listen, I'm so excited this time of the year. I don't know what's more important. If I win $300 million in the lottery, or I get to watch NFL football. Okay, obviously it's a lottery thing. I told you it's hot, but it's not that hot. But think about it. There's so much. I love this business. I absolutely love it. And as a little boy, I've always wanted to get into the world of broadcasting. since I was like 8 years old. I used to take apart every record player and radio we had in the house. I said, Mama, nobody's inside of that. That's why they say get an education. Boy, go get an education. Read a book. But anyway, I love the fact we have the NFL football, the divisional rounds, and I've been doing, and I hope I'm right. I was undefeated last week, so maybe I'll lose a game this week. I don't know. But I don't bet, even though some Guidos calling me, hey, Carlton, look what you would have made last week. Had you followed me when the football kicked off, Carlton, with that original $500, you'd be up to $5 million right now. I said, maybe I should listen. I mean, how many, if he went me $5 million, what would he have made himself? But anyway, if you think about it, I've been doing some, and I hope I'm right. I mean, everybody's guess is as good, but mine's based on facts, and I'm going to bring up some facts too. I think Deebo Samuel will be a household name by the end of this weekend. And Devontae Adams is already a household name. Devontae Adams, I saw him play at Palo Alto High School in the state championship game back in California back in the day, and also at Fresno State, and then the core with the Green Bay Packers. Josh Allen, saw him play high school football also in California, down at Fireball High School in Central California, and then he went down and played junior college near Fresno. I believe it's called Kings River High School or college near Reilly, and then at Wyoming. Patrick Mahomes has been a household name for a long time. In fact, Patrick Mahomes makes more money than anyone in the history of the NFL universe. Show me the money. He could be in Jerry Maguire Part 2 with Lee Steinberg and Tom Cruise, if that makes sense to you. Big C Sports will have a cameo appearance in that movie. But the biggest thing that I'm looking at with the 8 remaining NFL playoff teams, and there's, Super Bowl 56 is right down the road in Southern California, beautiful Inglewood, Los Angeles, California. There are just some great matchups. No one really knows which teams to pick, but I can tell you, the home team is not going to win every game in this playoff weekend. It's just not going to happen. Now, the home team didn't win every playoff game last weekend. You saw what happened when the 49ers went down and beat the Cowboys, which I also predicted that. But, man, maybe I should have put that $500 up. We'd be worth $5 million today. Isn't that something? So the NFL power rankings, I talked a lot about that throughout the year. And Buffalo's having a little bit of hitching their giddy up lately, if people believe that. And then Josh Allen somewhat doing his thing. But can a high school kid from one of the smallest towns in California, Fireball has about 10,000 people, it's a farming community out there near Interstate 5 and Highway 152 in the Central Valley, just north of Fresno, about an hour north of Fresno. Can a small town kid get his team to the AFC Championship game? Isn't that something? I mean, you really got to think about it. There's also another small town kid that comes out of Chico, California, played at Pleasant Valley High School. Isn't that something too? And that's in California. So you have 2 Central Valley quarterbacks and Josh Allen, and then everybody knows Aaron Rodgers. 2 Central Valley kids. Isn't that something? And they have so much on the line this weekend. But I like so much about what happens, even though another Central Valley kid, Derek Carr, the quarterback for the Las Vegas Raiders, played his football down in Bakersfield at Bakersfield Christian High School. And they're just so much when it comes to California kids. And all of these guys went to small town high school football programs. They were not in the big programs like Mater Dei of Santa Ana that can recruit, or De La Salle of Concord. These are small California high schools that produce some NFL playoff quarterbacks. So I'm going to get into Big C's thoughts for the NFL playoffs starting on Saturday on January 22nd. You have the Tennessee Titans. They are 12-5, and they're taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. That game is in Tennessee, and Cincinnati is 11-7, kind of like 7-11 inverted, 11-7 at Nissan Stadium in Nashville, Tennessee. It's a 4:30 p.m. kickoff East Coast time on CBS Sports and also Paramount. Now, the Titans are 3.5-point favorites. The over-under is 47.5, which makes me feel that's a little bit low unless the weather's going to be rainy, because both teams can get into the 30s the way they're able to score. But I love I love football. Touchdown Joe Burrow. He's a big player, but he had a big game last week against the Raiders. And he's very cocky, or some people say confident. He is capable of taking over a game against any defense, but I also saw them get blitzed by the Chargers just a couple of weeks ago. Also saw them get had by the 49ers and the Green Bay Packers. Now, this Tennessee Titans team, they have touchdown Derrick Henry. And when you think about the Titans haven't played a top 10 quarterback in a couple of months. And just 2 weeks ago, they allowed David Mills to come back on them. But you think about things change. But nothing changes when you can run the football. Teams that run the ball have a much more of an advantage than teams that try to have a quarterback complete a high percentage rate. And I think about it, the Cincinnati Bengals, their skill position talent in this matchup, they're good, especially when you look at Chase. But I'm going to look at Tennessee. They're bigger, they're stronger, they're more experienced when it comes to the playoff, and they're deeper above the lines. It's going to be difficult for Joe Mixon to run. He didn't run as well against the Raiders as I thought he would, but he had some success. And then Jeffrey Simmons and Danico Autry will create interior pressure against Cincinnati's offensive line that even the Raiders had some success on. But when Burrow is not hot, then Cincinnati has no chance of winning. He has to be hot in this game. While Trey Hendrickson will play on Saturday, I don't trust the Bengals' rush defense to hold up in the 4 quarters of the Tennessee Titans pound them offensive running attack. They're just going to lean on them. If touchdown Derrick Henry can touch the rock 20 times, you know he's going to probably crack 100 yards. Now, when you think about this also, in the trenches, there's a bigger mountain to climb. The coaching matchup favors the Tennessee Titans too. Some people feel that Vrabel should be a candidate for a coach of the year. But I trust Vrabel. And the fact that they've been there before, this is not new. It's going to be new for Joe Burrow. So Cincinnati will probably win, right? Probably not. If you run the ball, don't make it about Tannehill. Make it about touchdown Derrick Henry, King Henry, and it looks like the Titans have a chance to advance. You know the Mississippi Moonshine or the Tennessee Moonshine is going to be flowing down there in the South. But you got to feel like they can stay ahead of this game if they just run the ball and milk the clock. They've been to the playoffs before. They know what it's like to play in a championship game, and they know what it's like. They have the Super Bowl experience more recently, or playoff experience more recently, with Vrabel playing for some championship teams for the New England Patriots under Belichick. And Cincinnati just got their first playoff win since Ickey Woods was doing the Ickey Shuffle back in the day. I played against Ickey Woods in high school, too. And so they're going to have some special things for this week. I'm not so confident that Zach Taylor can adjust, especially seeing how they were blown out by the Chargers. That's the game that sticks in my mind. They were blown out. Wasn't even close. It's amazing how it's so many things for Cincinnati's tied to one player. Can Burrow get hot with Jamar Chase? He's one of the best receivers in the NFL this year, but he's still going to get better. But can he do it enough to overcome them not having won a playoff game outside of once in the last 31 years as a franchise? They celebrated a lot last week when they beat the Raiders, and there were a little bit of shenanigans at the end of that game. So who knows if you can get your cleats around that one. I'm going to take what's called the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. When I come back, I'm going to talk about some more NFL football. In the words of former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. All right, we're back from the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 23 podcast applications all over the universe. Really do appreciate that. And just closing up on the Bengals and the Titans game. You think about the Bengals defensive line versus the Titans offense. It's going to run through touchdown Derrick Henry. Again, he hasn't played since he broke his right foot and a couple of months ago. And the Bengals gotta be tough up front. I think the Raiders have success moving against the Bengals on the ground. And I know that Tennessee has a better running game than the Raiders had. Also, just keep in mind that for Tennessee, it's easier to run than it is to pass. Burrow has to have a big game in order for the Bengals to win. Tannehill doesn't have to. So look at some play-action passes by the Cincinnati Bengals to try to suck the defense in to get Chase open downfield. All fair and level war. We'll see what happens in that game. But I love I love NFL football. It's going to be a fabulous weekend of NFL football. And now the next teams that I really can't wait to see is the 49ers and the Green Bay Packers. Not because I bet $5 on the Niners winning, but because I'm a numbers guy, not analytics as much, but just seeing how 0-3 is Aaron Rodgers against the 49ers in the last 3 playoff games. And that sometimes you gotta look at that too. But there's so much about this game that intrigues me. The 49ers, when you think about their red zone offense, they're number 1 in the NFL in scoring touchdowns inside the 20-yard line. And Green Bay's defense, that same Green Bay's defense that people have favored to win, they're 28th in the league in red zone. You can score against them. Also, when you look, and again, who knows? I'm just pointing out some facts. Who knows who's going to have the last dance here? But if you look at Green Bay's division, they have to play the Bears twice. They get to play the Vikings twice. And they play the Lions twice. They lost to the Vikings and they lost to the Lions. Teams that went nowhere near the playoffs. So their record of 13-4 is a little bit misleading. If you look at the Rams division, if you look at the 49ers in the NFC West, they play the Rams twice. Okay? They play the Cardinals twice. And they play the Seahawks twice. The Rams and the Cardinals, they're a playoff team. That's something that you look at too. Who knows what's going to happen if someone has a turnover here or there. But the 49ers also, they're 19-0 when they run the ball 35 times or more. They ran the ball 38 times versus the Cowboys last week. The Cowboys were the number 1 scoring offense in the NFL. They are 6-0 when they run for 150 yards or more. For Green Bay, the last 3 runners that went up against Green Bay's defense rushed for over 100 yards. That's a clue. TV wants you to think it's about touchdown Aaron Rodgers. He's 0-3 in his last 3 playoff games against the 49ers. Maybe he's due. But it may not seem like it. There's so much to look at this game. Kyle Shanahan has the best running scheme in the NFL. How about linebacker Devontae Campbell? Can he deal with all-pro as an all-pro player? Can he make a difference in tackling the 49ers running backs in space? The big-time playmakers? Can he shut them down? Nobody has all year. And people say, well, it's going to be cold. That's better for the Niners because they run the ball better. Green Bay doesn't run the ball well. It's all about will they allow some personal fouls against Aaron Rodgers, and people think that may happen too. Oh, roll from the passer, right? It's happened for all the marquee quarterbacks in the league. But just some thoughts. Lambeau Field, which is like the Coliseum of football. Lambeau Field, Green Bay, Wisconsin. 8:15 p.m. kickoff East Coast time on Fox and also Fox Sports Deportes. You can also follow Big C Sports in Spanish, Espanol, Poquito. I'm really excited about that too. Now the spread, Green Bay is favored by 6. The over-under is 47. This might be a low-scoring game because it might be cold, and you can't throw the ball downfield a lot when it's cold. Maybe they will. But I like the 49ers defense. And they've won back-to-back road games against the Rams and also against the Cowboys. 2 high-scoring teams. Higher scoring than Green Bay. That's not a fluke. By running the ball and playing good defense. They got to keep their season alive. And they did it by knocking off 2 talented opponents in the Rams on the road in the Dome. And also the Cowboys on the road in the Dome. The Niners running game, they call it Bang Bang Niner Game by E40, wrote a song about it. Bang Bang Niner Game. It's a great song. But they match up excellent against the Packers defense. I just told you. The 49ers have the number 1 red zone offense in the NFL. The Packers have the number 28 red zone defense in the NFL. The first time they played out in San Francisco back on September 26th, I was there. It was a Niners home opener. It was the first home game in over 300 days because of COVID, and they were playing their games down in Arizona prior to that. Green Bay had jumped out to a 17-0 lead. And the 49ers came back. They scored a running touchdown by Lance right before halftime. And after being down 17-0, the 49ers came back and scored 28 points. So they outscored them 28-13 after being down. They're not going to be down 17 points in this game unless there's some shenanigans. Shenanigans mean if you don't have 20 rushes by halftime, shenanigans are there. And don't expect that you won't see Trey Lance in this game also, because Green Bay cannot stop the run, let alone a run-pass option quarterback. Now, I might be wrong, and I might owe the $5 to my friend Jim in Chicago when this is over. But it doesn't make sense that they would not find a way to win this game. The Packers' defense has been very mediocre. Green Bay finished 30th in rush defense. There's only 32 teams in the NFL. Shanahan, that's a clue. You already know what's going on if they come out and start throwing the ball all over the field, as opposed to running the ball, pound it, against the 30th rush defense in the NFL. Cleveland, that did not make the playoffs, had over 212 yards rushing against that same defense. But Baker Mayfield decided to throw the ball. They needed 12 yards for a field goal range. And after Chubb ran for 12 yards and a first down, instead of giving them the ball 2 or 3 more times, they passed it incomplete. Baker Mayfield, second play, pass incomplete. Baker Mayfield, third play, pass interception. Like, why? Dumb. Because I think some people are cynical. The Green Bay hasn't played a meaningful game in about 3 weeks. The last team that finished with a winning record in November, Green Bay starters were trailing at halftime against the Lions in Week 18. Think about that. A start line with games down the stretch against the Bears, did not make the playoffs. Baltimore Ravens did not make the playoffs, and the Cleveland Browns did not make the playoffs. What do they have in common with the 49ers? Nothing. So maybe none of that matters. Maybe Aaron touchdown Rodgers. Maybe he's going to be a back-to-back MVP for the NFL. Unvaccinated, lied to the league. Will they give him, they're telling everybody to get vaccinated. He lied to the league, said he was immunized. Will they give him the benefit of the doubt if he gets hit on the side of the helmet or hit on the side of the shoulder pad? They call personal foul. Who knows? It's just incredible. This game has so much intrigue to it for Northern California. But touchdown Aaron Rodgers has muscle memory. He's able to get out of the pocket and make quick passes, which is going to be what can save them in this game. They can't try to back up and throw the ball downfield. The Niners can rush 4 and drop 7. They were outscored 28-13 by the Niners after being up 17-0 in San Francisco. Same teams. You're not going to get Shanahan twice unless he wants you to, by passing the ball more than he runs. So I expect this game to be tough on both offenses. The Packers have the playmakers up front. Jimmy G, getting him to the game. Will he make mistakes and render all that moot? He has a 19 QBR in the fourth quarter, so you got to have a running game in mind. We saw that in Dallas just last week. I feel confident that the 49ers can win this game if they have run-first mentality. Everybody knows that, and they have to do that if they're going to have a chance to win it. It doesn't mean they will. Green Bay is a very good team. It's going to be home. They're going to be cold. But I do love San Francisco if they don't make the turnovers that Jimmy G's been known to make, and go in there and have a run-first and a run-second mentality and just trust your offensive line to beat people up. That's my feeling about it. But if they try to make it about passing and turnovers, then Green Bay has a chance. That's my opinion. So many ways to look at this game. It's all fair and love and war. Just keep in mind also, the 49ers 38 rushes, 169 yards versus Dallas last week. And for some reason, the point spread is at 6 points for Aaron Rodgers, who's never beaten the 49ers in the playoff game. Going back to Colin Kaepernick, he didn't beat him. Isn't that something? But I do look at Adams in this first game against the Niners. He had 12 passes, 132 yards. And they can't shut him down unless they double-team him. And I think they'll figure that out for this matchup coming up in Green Bay. But it's all fair and love and war. We'll see what happens. I just want to see a very good football game, no matter who wins. I still think that the 49ers have what it takes to go there and win. And we'll see if they can get it done. We're going to take what's called the Big C Pause, also known as the Big C Timeout. For the former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'll be back. right, we're back to the Big C Pause, also known as the Big C Timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 23 podcast applications all over the universe, and also on 4 TV applications. Even have Ronnie Lott talking about the sports universe. Come on, Ronnie Lott. Eisenhower High School, Rialto, California, USC Trojans, and of course with the 49ers, talking about the sports universe. All fair and love and war. I also, what a good omen. My Super Bowl that I went to Miami with Denver beat Atlanta, coming back from Miami to San Francisco on the same plane. Ronnie Lott and his crew on that same plane, and now there's something about having the old timers come out, the Hall of Famers come out and talk about just wanting to see some good football. But just in mind also for the 49ers, they gotta have the name of Deebo Samuel, which, in my opinion, if Shanahan does his thing, he'll be the MVP of this game. You got tight end George Kittle, just some short passes, yards after the catch. He's amazing, hard to tackle. Jimmy G has to be a short pass expert. Nick Bosa should play. As well as, I don't think they're going to hold any of the linebackers out for the 49ers. I thought a player, Fred Warner, is a difference maker for the 49ers also. But even when they went out against Dallas, they still had enough to hold on and beat the Dallas Cowboys. I just can't get enough about this weekend coming up. There's another big-time game that I want to go to, and that's on Sunday. You have the Los Angeles Rams 13-5. At the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, defending Super Bowl champion, Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 14-4. And so many people are looking forward to this game because the Rams blew them out last time down at SoFi Stadium. This game is Raymond James Stadium, Tampa, Florida, 3 o'clock p.m. East Coast time kickoff on NBC Sports and also Peacock and Universal. The Rams are getting 3 points, so Tampa Bay's a 3-point favorite. The over-under is 48. But the last time they played, I think it was 34-24. The Rams blew them out. And it could have been worse than that. Now, Tom Brady's played nearly an entire season worth of conference championships, 14 overall games. And even if it's recently diminished his ability to get around in the pocket, he likes staying in the pocket. He doesn't like to run outside of the pocket, which might be a benefit to him. But their offensive line is banged up. Tampa Bay's roster is a lot more talented than many of those former Brady squads. But the Buccaneers, they handled the weight of being defending champions. And they did that well this year. They knocked out the Eagles, but the Eagles didn't even show up. And then they might have had the wrong injuries at the wrong opponents at the wrong time. Their right tackle, Tristan Wirfs, and center Ryan Jensen, respective ankle injuries. When you think about that, they're great unknowns for this game. Both are missing in practice. And while Jensen finished the Eagles game, he wasn't himself, and the Eagles didn't really play hard in the first half. They scored, I think, 16 points in that last game, 15 or 16, and the Eagles just were not the same matchup that the Rams posed for Tampa Bay. But Tom Brady, his first Super Bowl championship down in New Orleans, they kicked a field goal to win the game. I think it was Adam Vinatieri, and they beat the Rams, the greatest show on turf, down in New Orleans. I think it was 20-17, if that makes sense to you. And then also, the last time they played in a Super Bowl, the New England Patriots beat the Rams. That was against the great Jared Goff. And what's going to be any different about this time against the Rams? The Rams have to go across the country. The Rams had the chance to play the Arizona Cardinals, who didn't show up in this game. I don't know what happened or how you even look at it, but they just did not show up. They were not a good matchup for the Rams on Martin Luther King holiday. Arizona's the last team in the country to pass a Martin Luther King holiday, and then they had their football team playing in Los Angeles against the Rams on Martin Luther King holiday. I know maybe only Big C Sports looks at things that way, but there was no way that they were going to have the Cardinals even show up. And to me, there was a lot of funny business going on in that game, if that makes sense to you. But I think about this game. There's something about the NFL and the TV ratings with Tom Brady playing in the NFC Championship game, because he's played in the AFC Championship games many, many times. 9 times. Or even more than that, but he's been to 9 Super Bowls with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A 10th one, not with Tampa, a 10th one with Tampa 9 times with the New England Patriots. But think about what happened in that game. Brady didn't have much time to operate against Philadelphia, taking 4 sacks. He got sacked 4 times by Philly. Philly's defense didn't have Aaron Donald. They didn't have Von Miller. They didn't have Leonard Floyd. Think about that. This is a different defense that the Rams bring. You thought Kyler Murray had a tough time against this team. But the NFL won't let you touch Tom Brady. And they know that. So he got rid of the ball quick against Philadelphia, taking 4 sacks, twice the number of his 3 sacks in the previous time they played. The Rams are a lot better defense than what Philly had. When you think about it, there's no reason they should lose this game. But again, the NFL, they love Tom Brady, and you can't touch him. I remember the AFC Championship game in Kansas City a couple of years ago. He was hit on the shoulder pad. They called personal foul. Hit to the helmet. And on the video, it showed they never hit his helmet. So can Brady live with losses at receivers? He's still got Gronkowski, who's not a deep ball threat. Mike Evans, who's still good. But it's going to be hard to play against the Rams that can blitz him and blitz him and blitz him like they did last time when they beat them in Los Angeles. I know everybody has their own opinion about it. I think the NFL would love to see Tom Brady versus Aaron Rodgers Part 2. And they may just get it. I don't have a skin in the game other than I'm a Northern California born and raised, and I'd love to see the Niners advance the Bang Bang Niner game. But it's all about football and who's going to play better. But I feel like the Rams, can Matthew Stafford beat Tom Brady? Probably not. But the defense can. And the defense, they're going to have to, if they're going to hope to advance and play the NFC Championship game in the new SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. Isn't that something? You got some matchups. The Rams, Aaron Donald versus the Buccaneers interior offensive line. Tampa Bay is banged up in the trenches on offense. It doesn't look good for Brady, who went down 4 times. What did Bruce Willis get told by Ben Rames? Your butt goes down in the 4th round. in Pulp Fiction. I mean, you got to know Pulp Fiction if that makes sense to you. But you got to double team Darnold as it is. I'm just telling you, this game has LA Rams written all over it. But I'm not so sure that the league will allow that to happen because they want to see Tom Brady advance. And I know this has happened before, and it may just happen again. Who knows? I have no skin in that game, and I'm not pulling for either team. I just want to see some good football. But something tells me them good old boys down in Vegas, they know what's going on. What did Marvin Gaye say? Tell me what's going on. Tell me what's going on. They say, tell me what's going on. And a lot of times they want to know what's going on. And we will see if they know what's going on in this game. It's all fair and war. I want to bring it to the final game. It's a big-time game. I still feel so many people feel that Buffalo can shoot their load twice. You can't shoot your load twice. I don't care what kind of vitamins they're on. Back-to-back, they shot everything they had at home versus the New England Patriots. So Buffalo's 12-6 at the Kansas City Chiefs 13-5. The defending 3-time AFC Championship game contenders. It's a 6:30 p.m. kickoff East Coast time Sunday, and that's on CBS Sports. This is the team in Kansas City that has been there like every year. They're there. When you look at defense, going back to the 49ers, they're the only team with 3 or more sacks in the last 4 games. Can somebody get to Josh Allen? If any team can, it would be the Kansas City Chiefs. They're a good football team. They're at home. You have Andy Reid. You have Eric Bieniemy, the greatest offensive coordinator over the last 3 years, and can't get an NFL head coaching interview. He's African-American. Been to 2 Super Bowls in a row. They say, well, so. But at the same time, people are trying to get all the Dallas Cowboys assistants who can't win the big game. It's all fair and love and war. But it's at GEHA Field, Arrowhead Stadium, Kansas City, Missouri. It's a 6:30 p.m. kickoff East Coast time, Sunday on CBS. The Bills are getting 1.5. The over-under is 53.5. These are not the 2 teams that played early in the year. You have touchdown Josh Allen, who's on the front of a magazine called Fantasy Football for the 32nd edition. Buffalo's the last team in the AFC to go to 4 Super Bowls back to back to back to back. And they play as well as they played back in the days of Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas, Bruce Smith. They couldn't get it done. They lost twice to the Cowboys. They lost to the Giants, and they just couldn't get it done. And they also lost to the Washington now football team Redskins at the time. You have touchdown Patrick Mahomes, like the Matrix quarterback. He's played uneven at stretches throughout the first part of the season, but they've gotten that car tuned up, and they've settled into their best playoff position play. They blasted Pittsburgh last week. But when you think about this time of the year, all that matters is, can you make big-time players making big-time plays? Is there any more of a big-time playmaker than touchdown Patrick Mahomes? Some people feel that Josh Allen is. I don't think he is. I mean, one game, yeah, but this is the same team that lost to Jacksonville. If they win, more power to the NFL. This has been a presentation of the National Football League. Kansas City has a chance to go 4 years in a row to the AFC Championship games. But Mahomes and Allen, which one's going to get the Big C burger? It's a tasty burger, and it comes with, what's all this exotic meats? And it also goes great with the Big C coffee. It comes with exotic beans. And only one size extra large. Which one's playing for the extra large Big C cup of coffee? The best part of waking up is Big C in your cup. All's friend Levin Warren. But I like this game, Tyreek Hill. When you think about it, Jerick McKinnon, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, these players have to play big. If Allen's legs can outrun Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, I know they have their own weapons on offense, but it's a lot to overcome when you go into Kansas City and win. It's almost like a better special. It feels like it is. Now, Allen, he just cannot run those guys. So something about this game, like, what does the Las Vegas know that nobody knows about in this game? Allen had early designs to run against Kansas City in Week 5. He was decisive in making the Chiefs pay for their man-to-man coverage on defense. They've learned. They've figured that out. Allen led the league in yards per carry, replacing Lamar Jackson, who was also injured throughout the year, okay? So that's why. But the NFL's most devastating runner at quarterback, Devin Singletary, is playing his best ball of his pro career alongside Allen. The Bills' combination of offensive diversity and the reliability of a veteran pass defense whose safeties rarely get beat deep. And then they are the underdog by the slimmest of margins. No matter who comes out on top, the winner of this game most likely will advance to Super Bowl 56, covered by Big C Sports in Los Angeles. There's a lot going on in this game that the odds makers and Las Vegas are all over Buffalo. But can they shoot their load twice in 2 weeks? I doubt it. Back to back, they just shot the load against the New England Patriots, who were kind of a nosedive of a team. One stat when you think about it, the weakness for Buffalo this season has been the run defense. The Bills finished the regular season ranked 20th with more than 1,800 yards and 19 touchdowns allowed. McKinnon could explode for the Chiefs in the wild card round, as he did already. 140 yards from scrimmage, also a receiving touchdown. He'll have to contend with Athletic Edmonds, though. It's a good game matchup. Don't know who's going to win this game. It's not going to be a 38-20 loss like it was in the first time they played Week 5. I think Patrick Mahomes, he had 3 turnovers in that game. They were not all his fault. They've cleaned up the turnover margin. Josh Allen was 25. He was 21 of 25, 308 yards against New England last week. And the 47-17 trash. But come on, they shot their load already. Do they have enough left in the tank to come back and win this game? I think not. But it's all fair and level war, and that's why they play the game. We're going to take what's called the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. When we come back, we're going to talk about some more things in the sports universe. In the words of former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. All right, back from the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 23 podcast applications all over the universe and 4 TV applications streaming. Eastern Conference, number 1 right now in the Eastern Conference is the Brooklyn Nets in the Atlantic Division, followed by Philadelphia and then Boston. If you look at the Southeast Division, you have Miami in the lead with Charlotte, and then Washington mopping up behind them. In the Central Division of the NBA Eastern Conference, the Chicago Bulls followed by the defending NBA champion Milwaukee Bucks. They play a big game tonight. Can't wait to see that. Cleveland coming in third place right now in the Central Division. In the Western Conference, you have in the Southwest Division, Memphis Grizzlies. They're the number one team right now in that division. Dallas is coming on strong, but they're still 4 games back, followed by San Antonio. And San Antonio has Brooklyn coming to town tonight. In the Northwest Division, you have the Utah Jazz. They're a strong team every year until you get to the playoffs. They're followed by Denver, which is 5 games back in the Northwest Division. And then Minnesota's right in third place in that division. In the Pacific Division, wow, the Phoenix Suns in first place right now. They're 2.5 games ahead of Golden State, the Warriors. And then the Lakers coming in third place in the Pacific Division of the NBA. So I know everybody has their own thoughts about it. Again, just running down tonight's games again. The LA Clippers at Philadelphia, Los Angeles Lakers at Orlando, Oklahoma City at Charlotte, the Miami Heat taking on the Atlanta Hawks, Portland's at Boston at TD Gardens, Chicago at Milwaukee tonight, 8 p.m. That game tipped off already, East Coast time. What a game that should be. Toronto's at Washington, Brooklyn at San Antonio, down in Texas. They don't have all their gunslingers, though. Detroit at Utah, up in the Wasatch Mountains. Memphis at the Mile High City. Will Ja Morant have his legs under him going up against the Joker? That game already tipped off up in Denver. Then Houston out here in Northern California taking on the Golden State Warriors. So there's a lot of good things for NBA basketball for you good old boys that want to see will the Lakers make a change before the All-Star break at coaching or even as the players. Who knows? Westbrook's going to do his thing with that team. Just got to give them a little bit of California love. Come on, California love. That's all they need is a little bit of California love. If you can't get California love, give them the Big C burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with, what's all this exotic meat? Because he plays like he's having Big C coffee. The best part of Russ Westbrook making up is Big C cup. Big C in his cup of coffee. Oh, man, what a great time for NFL football coming up over the weekend. I know a lot of times people feel like they're skating on thin ice. And the NHL, they have some games tonight. Also, the New York Rangers, they're at Carolina. Pittsburgh is at Columbus. Arizona's taking on the New York Islanders. Dallas is at Detroit. Minnesota's at Chicago. Florida is at Vancouver up in the beautiful country of Canada. St. Louis, the Blues, taking on Seattle. The Kraken up in the great Northwest and the Tampa Bay. I got to get this right. Come on, producer. Tampa Bay is taking on the Lightning. The Tampa Bay Lightning. They're doing their thing. They're down in Anaheim. And where there's a big mouse. When you have a mouse and you have lightning, that's a scary thing. People might be scared when they hear a mouse in lightning. Also, English Premier Soccer League. Got some games coming up. Well, tonight we have Watford at Norwich. And then Saturday's game, Everton at Aston Villa, Brentford at Wolverhampton. You have Leeds at Newcastle, Man City. You have Man United versus West Hampton, and then Southampton versus Man City. There's a lot of good things going on in sports. But I know before all of the talk about, at least around the country, has been the football, the playoffs. Either team can win. There's no one team that's favored to win, no matter who it is, whether it's San Francisco or Green Bay, or whether it's going to be Kansas City or Buffalo, or I think Cincinnati is probably given the least favorite with Tennessee. Just a lot of good things going on, and the Rams in Tampa. I love football. It's a great game. It's a great sport. So many people are tied to these games and wanting to see who's going to win these games. 49ers has a lot of intrigue because there's a lot of California connections in the San Francisco game. I mean, the 49ers, they could have drafted touchdown Aaron Rodgers out of Cal Berkeley. He grew up loving the 49ers. And if you look at the part of the country where he's from, up in Chico, Northern California, there's a lot of 49er fans up in them there hills, up near the Butte Valley and the Soda Buttes. That's part of where Chico is located. So there's a lot of 49er territory. But a lot of times you got to look at your hometown kid, too. That's Aaron Rodgers, making a lot of people very proud as he's going on to Cal Berkeley and now being able to take over the Green Bay Packers. He's only had one Super Bowl, and they won that game over the Pittsburgh Steelers. Jimmy G's been to one Super Bowl. He's not a Northern California kid, but he is from the Midwest. So whether he has that second chip on his shoulder, can he pick up the slack and get the 49ers over the top. We'll see what happens. I don't really know how to pick this game, but just based on numbers, you have the number 1 scoring offense in the red zone. That's the 49ers, and the number 30 defense in the red zone. That would be Green Bay. It just makes sense. Can Joe Burrow do his thing down in Tennessee? Bring your own Gatorade, Joe Burrow. Don't let the smooth face fool you with the Southerners giving you Gatorade. Buffalo. Who's going to win that game? Josh Allen, a touchdown. Patrick Mahomes. All's fair and level war. And then the Rams and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Will there be any type of revenge? We don't know. But I can tell you, back in the day, there's a man by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right hand man. He would always tell Ali, you float like a butterfly, you sting like a bee, you rumble, young man, rumble. But all you've got to use, how can you lose? All of it, see, I'm so pretty, I'm so handsome, I can't possibly be beat. All these big C burgers make you out of my feet. That's why I'm always float like a butterfly, and stinging like a bee. That's that big C cup coffee that comes in extra size. One size, extra large. That makes sense, man. May all of you have the many big C burgers that you can eat this weekend. It should be a great weekend for a big C burgers and also a big C coffee. As my beautiful mother always says, there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. If you know any man, woman, or child going through that garbage, pick up the phone and ask for help, because no man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. As we always tell you on every Big C Sports Show, I thank you, I appreciate you, and I hope you have a super fantastic day.